Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is Seraphon time, the last Battletome that needed updating, Grant.
It is. It's been a long time coming.
The final one. And my, what a fantastic terrain feature they've got.
Yeah, it's probably my favourite thing about the release is the new terrain feature.
I've bought it just for the terrain.
I know. I'm going to have to get one. It just makes me think of Stargate. It's a pyramid and a Stargate on top. It just makes me happy.
Absolutely. So, you guys, massive shout out to Games Workshop, of course, for sending this for us to review. You guys are going to want to know the immediate things, which is points. Now, the only thing I would say is Grant's gone through the units more excessively than what I have. Nearly everything's changed.
Yeah.
So, although you may get a shock at the points, read the Unit War Scrolls. If you want more in-depth look at the Unit War Scrolls, they're normally available on the Games Workshop website themselves, alongside each unit at the point that this goes up for pre-orders. So they should be there now. So, for the points, I'll run through these. We've got Engine of the Gods, 260 points. Saurus Warriors, 90 points for 10, or 320 for 40. That's actually not a bad discount.
It's what they were. Well, they were 90 and 330 before, right. So it's around the same mark. I've got the old points in front of me, just because there's a couple of major changes.
Yeah. Bastiladon, 220. Stegodon, 240. 240 for the Stegodon. But Battle Line, if you're running Thunder Lizards.
Yes. The Stegageddon, as the community page called it.
Is that what they've been calling it?
Yeah, they put up a list, I think on Thursday.
Right.
Was it Thursday? Thursday or Friday, about the Stegageddon list, which was, I think, maybe 7 Stegodons and a Bastiladon or something.
Wow. Lord Croak, 320. Is that down or up?
It's very much down. He is 430 in old points. Yeah. He got a massive decrease.
Okay. Ripidactyl Chief, 80 points. Saurus Astrolith Bearer, 140. Eternity Warden, 110. Old Blood, 110. Saurus Scar Veteran on Cold One, 110. Saurus Sunblood, 130. Skink Priest, 70. Star Priest, 120. Starseer,
that's a big jump, actually, the Star Priest.
What was it?
It's 80. A lot of the rest of the ones are like 10, 20 points here and there. There's not a lot in it, but that one is a noticeable jump.
Yeah. Slan Star Master, 260 points. Interesting, the Croak is only 60 points more than a Slan.
Yeah.
Pterodon Chief, 70. Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur, 250. Scar Veteran on Carnosaur, 210. Skink Oracle on Troglodon, 260. Stegodon with Skink Chief, 270. Chameleon Skinks, 90. Now, they changed. Well, all Skinks changed.
Yeah. I was just checking, actually, that's why I require it's like, how much do you say the new Troglodon is?
260.
See, it was 140, but obviously they've added a lot to the Troglodon.
Yeah. It's
now really worth it. Yeah. Skinks have changed.
Croxigors are 140. Razordons are 80. Ripidactyls are 80. Salamander Hunting Packs are 80. Saurus Guard are 100 for 5. Saurus Knights are 100 for 5, and they're both Battle Line. And Skinks are 60 points for 10. They are also Battle Line. And 90 for 3 Pterodon Riders.
So Pterodons and Ripidactyls have gone down considerably.
Yeah. Then you've got a whole host of battalions, between 200 and 130 points. We won't go over all of them, though. Other points that you've got in this book as well is the endless spells for bound endless spells. Are they actually any different to the standard points, Grant? I didn't compare them.
They are. They have gone up in points, which I wasn't expecting, but I think is a good call.
Okay. But that's specifically the bound one, though.
Yes. So, will we leave going over what bound endless spells are? Because I think they've gone over them already. But
yeah, do you want to explain what they are, just while we're on that bit?
yeah, basically, bound endless spells, only you can move them.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you can take a Purple Sun, which I think is, 60 points for them? Or is it a bit more?
Yeah, it's 60.
Yeah, so you're paying 10 more points to make sure the Purple Sun's never going to come through your own guys.
That's good.
Effectively, yeah. I mean, what I liked about this was, yes, it's the normal endless spells, but they get a benefit, so it's good they're paying more points for it. I think there was a bit of backlash when the Cities book basically all got better endless spells and weren't paying any more for them.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see they've addressed that with this book and have actually made them change the points on them somewhat.
Absolutely. The temple as well, the terrain feature, is actually reversible.
Yeah, that was a great call as well. I think that's a great design choice.
Absolutely, so you can build it both ways. There's plenty of painting techniques in here as well, but allegiance abilities are now a thing for the Seraphon.
Yeah.
There's kind of three. There's one that everybody gets, and then you get a second half depending on whether you go, is it Coalesced?
The Coalesced and the Starborn.
Yeah. So, Ways of the Seraphon, this bit here, is what everybody gets, no matter what army you are, but you've got to choose whether you are Starborn or Coalesced.
Yeah.
And everybody in your army gains that keyword unless they already have one or the other. At the end of your hero phase, you can pick one friendly slan and replace the spell that they know from the Law of the Celestial Domination table with a new spell from that table. So you just change your spells on the fly.
Which I think is really good.
That's fantastic because...
It's great if you're playing in a tournament, you can... Yes, you got your spell you always start the game with, but depending on who you're playing, you might want something different. You can swap it out, you can change as the game goes on.
When Gloomspite dropped, how many Troll Hags did you see with a Grith Feather Charm and Scrapcuttle's Arachna Cauldron?
Yeah.
Because it lets you know all the spells.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so useful.
I like that more than just knowing all the spells. Because you've got a bit of play with it. You have to choose to change and stuff like that. You don't just know everything.
Yeah, it's not a case of here, you've got everything. You've got Sacred Asterums. At the start of your hero phase, pick one of the following Asterums to be in the Ascendant until your next hero phase. So there's a couple of little things. So you can pick the Great Drake. In the combat phase, pick one friendly Seraphon hero. And you can add one to the attack characteristics of melee weapons used by a hero. Great if you're using a monster.
Yeah. Situational, but a good one to have.
And these are free anyway. The next one we've got is the Hunter's Steed. Add one to run and charge rolls for friendly Seraphon units.
I mean, that never comes in. You're never going to complain about more charge distance or run distance.
Nope. Or the Sage's Staff in your hero phase, pick a friendly Seraphon wizard. You can add one to casting on dispelling rolls for that wizard. If it is your hero phase, you can add one to unbinding rolls for the wizard as well. In enemy hero phases. Yeah. So you get one of those three.
Yeah, which is
your slant.
I think you're probably going between the Hunter's Steed and the Sage's Staff quite a lot. I think that's going to be mainly the two you're going to flip between.
Yeah.
Because... spoilers, you can actually cast spells in Seraphon now and you don't have to save up all your points.
Yep, exactly. So, if you go for the Coalesced, you can't summon.
Yeah, that's
massive.
The big thing.
But they get Scaly Skin, which is being previewed on the community page, which is -1 damage.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
And when you think that Stegageddon army will be Coalesced, so it will have that subtract 1 from damage. So if you're doing an all beasts army, you get extra wounds enemies will come to for being them, and you're subtracting 1 from damage. It's going to be quite a survivable.
Absolutely.
Force.
The way I see this is the more kind of feral. This is more aggressive. I think this is how I would play this one. Whereas I feel the other one, the Starborn, is a bit more defensive and tricky.
Starborn is basically what Seraphon have always been.
Yeah.
This keeps very much that feel. If you want something different, then the Coalesced are a completely new way to play Seraphon.
Yep, so Cold-Blooded, ignore modifiers both positive and negative to bravery characteristics of Coalesced units. Add 1 to the attacks characteristics of all Jaws weapons used by Coalesced units. And then Primal Domain, if you play with scenery, this is actually quite good. So any terrain feature partially or wholly within the territory of the Coalesced army, any damned, arcane, inspiring, and mystical scenery rules for that terrain feature will only apply to the Coalesced units, while any deadly and sinister scenery rules for that terrain feature do not apply.
Yeah, that's nice. That is actually pretty nice.
Yeah. So that is basically Coalesced. Starborn. Grant, do you want to give us a rundown on this? Because I still like this.
Oh yeah, I'm still a big fan of it. So Seraphon, you get the unfeeling rule if you're Starborn, which is you have a bravery characteristic of 10.
Yeah.
So again, like they used to be, but now Seraphon don't have a default bravery characteristic of 10. So if you're Starborn, you still get that. And then the big one is the summoning, obviously. Celestial Conjuration. So you can summon to the battlefield if you have enough conjuration points. So you get D3 if your general's a Slann or Starseer and is on the battlefield, and D3 if you've got one or more Astrolith Balers on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Now, before, used to say, like, I'm not casting any spells, I'm just going to get summoning points with them all instead. That's gone. Now, you can, before you're casting the first spell, you can say that it will conjure, you'll get D3 points, the number of spells are reduced by 1. But that's it.
Yeah, so you can't stack it.
No, so you're going to get, at best, 3d3 a turn. Because one for your general, one for an Astrolith Baler, and then one for that.
Yeah.
So that is a big change. But it means you can actually cast spells now, which Slann they should be doing. They should be doing that.
Yeah.
You've also got Lords of Space and Time, so you can pick up one unit and put it 9 inches away from any enemy. Again, that's the sort of thing they've done before. And also everything down there, you've got a couple of battalion, a couple of hosts you can pick from, and then you've got the summoning chart.
Yeah. Now, how much did this change?
Well, I suppose I'll wait to see. I don't have the General's Handbook in front of me.
Ah, right.
So I don't know, but I would imagine it's got to have gone down a bit to compensate for the numbers you could generate before.
Well, 10 Skinks is 6.
Yeah. Then you've got a lot of 10, then 15. It's not big jumps. I mean,
yeah.
You're still going to be struggling to summon some of the
bigger stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, an Engine of the Gods is 30, and a Stegodon with Skink Chief is 30. That's a lot to summon. Considering if you roll well, you're going to get 9 a turn. That's going to take you till turn 4.
Yeah.
You probably want to be dropping 1 or 2 units a turn, depending on what you end up summoning.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're probably... Again, you can't go wrong with summoning in bodies like Skinks and Saurus just to bulk out your force in places and that. So it's a nice feature to have, but I don't think it's going to define them like it has done previously.
Yeah. Yeah, which is nice. It was a very mono play army, and it wasn't... I played against it once, and it just wasn't
You stacked
fun.
everything, and no. That's the problem.
As for command traits, you've got 3 for each type. So you've got 3 for the Slann, 3 for the Saurus, and 3 for the Skink. The Slann, you can reroll 1 casting, dispelling, or unbinding roll each hero phase. You can know 1 extra spell, which means you can always be swapping one of them out. And you've got the Great Rememberer, which can get you a command point on a 4+. The Saurus has a similar one to get an extra command point on a 4+. He can reroll saves of a 1 or reroll hit rolls of a 1. Both of them are a bit naff.
Yeah. You're probably going to go... If you're taking a Saurus leader, you're probably going to go for the command point.
Yeah, absolutely. The Skink command traits, you can add 1 to casting rolls. If they're not a wizard, then once per battle round, you can use the Herald of the Old One's command ability free. Which is on their war scroll. You can add 1 to the general's move and save, Or at the start of the combat phase, you can pick one enemy hero that is within 3 inches of him, and on a 4+ suffers 1 mortal wound. Well, one if you got a skink hero within 3 of somebody, you're dead.
Yeah, it's
2.
That's not where you need to be.
It's a 50-50 chance. 3. It's 1 mortal wound.
Yeah, I think you'd probably want
Casting 1 every time.
Potentially +1 save.
Yeah.
Depending on how you're building it and stuff, but yeah, you're more than likely going to go for the casting one.
Yeah. Now,
something like a Skink Oracle and Troglodon with +1 save. I mean, there's
yes.
There's maybe something there.
I didn't think about that. As for artifacts of power, the Slan ones are pretty interesting. The Saurus and the Skink ones, I think, they're okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the Slan ones based on obviously what you know about the upcoming War Scroll?
Yeah, so having a quick look through them, so I'll just pick out a couple. The Light Dracothian can be useful. Automatically unbind 1 endless spell, automatically dispel 1 endless spell once per battle.
Once per battle, though.
Yeah, but think how many people ally a Knight Incanters primarily for that reason.
True.
An automatic dispel is always it can be crutch, so it's an option. For the one being able to heal a wound, healing a wound every turn on your Slan that you need to keep alive.
Yeah,
you can't really complain with that. Plus, you can reroll a casting or dispelling roll, so again, just adding more to your magic. And the other one that I really like is the Throne of the Lost Gods. So you get 4-inch movement and another wound.
Yeah, that's pretty
Which,
cool.
again, just trying to keep them alive because they do so much for you, the Slan.
Yeah. As for the Saurus, we've only got 3 for the Saurus and 3 for the Skink. So you can pick one of the bearer's melee weapons and improve the rend by 1. In addition, add 1 to the damage inflicted if you wound a hero. That's okay.
Yeah.
Especially if you put that on a mount. Sigils of the Prime Hunter. Each time the bearer fights, after all of the bearer's attacks have been made, you can pick an enemy unit within 1. Roll a dice. On a 2 to 5, it suffers a mortal wound, and on a 6, it suffers D3. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pick that over the other 2.
No. And then Blood Rage Pendant. Add 1 to the attack characteristics of the bearer's melee weapons if the number of wounds allocated to the bearer is equal to or greater than half of the bearer's wounds characteristic, rounding up. So you get 1 extra attack on all your weapons if you've taken half damage.
Yeah, I think I would probably go with the first one if I was picking a Saurus relic.
Yeah. The Skink, the Incandescent I don't know what that is.
Retristes.
Yeah, that one.
I think.
The first time the bearer is slain, before removing them from the battlefield, roll a dice, and on a 1, 2, or 3 the bearer is slain. On a 4, 5, or 6 the bearer is not slain. All wounds allocated to them are healed, and any wounds that currently remain to be allocated to them are negated.
I like that.
That's cool. Cloak of Feathers, subtract 1 from hit rolls. In addition, add 4 to the bearer's move characteristic, and the bearer can fly.
Yep.
So it's a Griff Feather smashed together with a Thermal Rider Cloak.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's good, It's good. I like that.
That's a great one. And it is actually called a Cloak of Feather, so it literally is what it is. It's just a...
It's a cloak made of Griff Feather charms.
Yeah.
Sacred Stegodon Helm. Add 1 to save rolls for attacks that target the bearer. In addition, add 1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapons used by the bearer if they made a charge move in the same turn. That'll be good for a Skink on mount.
Well, if you combine that with the command trait, you've got a +2 save. +2 to your save, which if you take the Skink on Troglodon, would make him a 2+ save.
Yeah.
So
some good little combos. I like them.
Yeah.
I like it. Spells, however.
Yeah.
Do you want?
And they matter now. That's the great thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've got 12. 12 to choose from.
6. There's some great ones in here.
Yeah. Do you want to pick some of the Slan ones that you like?
Yeah. So a couple of ones that I like. I really like Drain Magic. So casting value of 9, if successfully cast, all endless spells within 24 inches that aren't bound are dispelled.
Wow. Sorry,
so you can just...
But doesn't that just suddenly shut down Tzeentch? Or are they not running as many endless spells?
No, they just shoot you with flamers now. At the moment, it's still flamers. But likes of Gits are quite good at using all their endless spells. Endless spell armies are still always going to be a thing, but even one or two endless spells, you don't have to pick which one to shut down now. You can just one cast, everything shut down.
Yeah, because I mean with Gits, you cast in the mushroom, or if you're playing spiders, you're casting the spiders, and you're probably going to have the Arachno Cauldron. Mm-hmm. As Flesh Eaters, you're going to have the Chalice.
Yep.
And I think a few others as well.
I mean, another thing to remember with this as well is if you take an Astrolith Baiter, you add 6 inches to the range of all your spells.
Wow.
So that's within 30 inches, you're shutting down all endless spells.
And if you're in the middle of the table, that's most of the table.
Yeah, just one spell, all endless spells off the table. I really, really like that spell.
I would love to see that in practice.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see him against one of the old... Well, there's some Gits lists that use like 9 endless spells. I would love to see this go against that and just one turn, just shut the whole thing down.
Yeah.
It would just change the game. And it's a 9, but there's a couple of bonuses to cast in here, so...
Yeah, and of course the command trait and the relic to re-roll a single cast and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's probably fairly reliable.
Yeah. Which other spells are you fancying?
I also quite liked... Is it the... Yeah, you can make a unit fly. So walk between realms.
Okay.
Casting value of 6. Pick one friendly unit wholly within 18 of the caster invisible to them. Until your next hero phase, that unit can fly. So depending on, terrain heavy tables and things like that, or trying to get behind a screen, you can now just fly over the screen. If you've got... You could take a Carnosaur and just fly it over someone's defensive screen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always got to be fun.
Out of curiosity, how many Slans would you put in a list? Would you take 2?
I don't know.
Because that Celestial Equilibrium,
this is a
value
thing,
of 7. If you successfully cast it, then other wizards that aren't you get +1 to cast.
Yeah, I would like to potentially try 2 Slan.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really like the rules for them. So I would be interested in it. I don't know if it's maybe a bit too much points in one area.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could really dominate potentially with that.
Yeah. For the Skinks, I liked Hand of Glory, which is pick a friendly unit within 18 and you can get to reroll 1s to hit. That's handy because if Skinks are shooting, you can reroll the 1s to shoot.
Yeah, saves you a command point.
It does. Casting value of 6, so that's not bad at all. You can change the terrain features outside of your territory with Extend Astra Matrix. And there was another one that I liked. Where is it? There. Fiery Convocation. Casting value of 7. Pick an enemy unit within 18 invisible. Until your next hero phase, at the end of each phase of a turn, roll a dice for that unit, and on a 6, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. If you roll 6s like Lucy, you're going to do multiple mortal wounds.
Yeah, that's quite good. And each phase, yeah. Especially it then makes your opponent think. I guess if they win the priority, they can't really afford potentially to keep taking those mortal wounds. They have to give it to you.
Exactly.
Anything that messes with turn priority, I like.
And if you're going first on the top of a turn and cast that,
yeah.
And there's a good chance that you mightn't go first. What would that be? That would be the hero movement, shooting, charge, combat, battle shock.
So that's 6.
That would be 12 dice by the time you're gonna get 2 or 3 6s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy good.
For casting value 7, it's only slightly more than Arcane Bolt. Arcane Bolt just does the 1 wound and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I also like Bind Endless Spell.
Yeah, so you can actually bind the Endless Spell.
Yeah, you can just steal someone's Endless Spell.
Yeah. And Tide of Serpents as well. The only issue I've got with Tide of Serpents is it's only range 12. You roll a dice equal to the number of models in the unit and a 5 up to do a mortal wound. There's a lot of spells that do that for most factions.
Yeah, it's kind of the standard horde clearing spell.
Yeah. Yeah. So some pretty cool spells.
Yeah. And like I say, we'll get to see them actually being cast now, which is great. I think that's such the big change for the book, I feel, is just your Slann are now actually masters of magic.
Yeah. So the next thing is the Realm Shaper engine, and it's massive. Or it looks massive.
Yeah, it looks really imposing.
How big it is, I don't know. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be about the same size as the Bone Tithe Nexus.
Yeah, it looks in that ballpark for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look, there's a Carnosaur next to it, and it's nearly the same height as the top of the pyramid, and then you've of course got the Stargate on top. Sorry, copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's cool. The issue I have with it is you've got to be garrisoned in it.
Yeah, but you could garrison 2 Bastillodons in it and have them shoot out.
Okay. Can monsters garrison?
Probably not. It just says combined wounds characteristics, so
yeah,
I'd have to look up the garrison rules.
Yeah. So basically, if
you could,
what?
if monsters can garrison, then
Yeah. So in your hero phase, if this model is garrisoned by a friendly Seraphon wizard or Seraphon priest, you can pick 1 terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield and roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of it. Add 2 to the roll if that terrain feature is within 18 of this model. Subtract 2 if the terrain is more than 36 inches away, and on a 4+, they suffer D3 mortal wound. So it's basically Heraldor.
Yeah. It's which can be good.
Yeah.
I mean, also can use it on itself, and it would be a 2-up on itself. So if it's surrounded by enemies, it's quite big.
Can you actually target your own faction terrain though?
Well, just pick 1 terrain feature anywhere in the battlefield. It's a terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield. Doesn't exclude itself.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, it's like any of your command abilities. Just you can use it on yourself. Because you meet the criteria. That's a terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield.
Yeah. I think that one might get FAQ, but I don't know. We'll have to see about that one. However,
even if you read the lore, it would make sense because the power coming out of so it's just that you're close to it. The power's coming down it.
Yeah,
I think that'll be fine, and it's only D3 mortal wounds. I mean, if you're surrounded, it's a lot of D3s, but
Yeah. So we've actually got 4 different factions within this, of course, with fixed command traits and artifacts. Some of them even have command abilities. So the Dracothian's Tail, these have to be coalesced, I think.
Starborn.
Oh, so these 2 are the Starborn ones.
Dracothian's Tail and Fangs are Starborn.
Okay. So do you want to have a look at the Dracothian's Tail, and I'll go through Fangs?
Yeah, so Dracothian's Tail is their thing is instead of setting up a friendly unit on the table, you can put it to one side, and you can set up 1 reserved unit for each one you already have on the table. So like Stormcast and Nighthaunt and that. At the end of your movement phases, you can bring 1 or more on, more than 9 inch from any enemy units, and wholly within 18 inch of a Slann.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got some deep strike, but you've got to keep them within range of the Slann as well. So a bit more limited. Command trait, an extra spell, and you can reroll 1 casting, dispelling, or unbinding roll.
Yeah.
Again, just more magic. And then the artifact is the first time you're slain, on a 1 to 3, you are still dead. On a 4 to 6, you get back up. Much like the Skink artifact.
That's good for a Slann, though.
Yeah, it is very good for a Slann.
Absolutely. I think that, if you're going Slann heavy, I think that's actually a decent a decent faction to go with. The Fangs of Sotek, though, in the first battle round, add 3 to the move characteristics of Fangs of Sotek Skink units. So I presume that'll also apply to the mounts and stuff as well, because they'll have the Skink keyword.
They do.
You can use this command ability at the end of an enemy charge phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Fangs of Sotek Skink unit from the Skinks War Scroll, or friendly Fangs of Sortek Chameleon Skink unit that is wholly within 18 of a friendly Fangs of Sortek hero, the Skink or Skink Chameleon unit can shoot. After you've resolved all that unit's shooting attacks, roll a dice, and on a 4+, you can make a normal move. If it does so, it must retreat but cannot run, and a unit cannot benefit from this command ability more than once per phase. Now that is there because Skinks changed.
Yeah.
Massively. So
They did.
Do you want to ruin it now for them?
Yeah, I suppose so. So it's going to happen at some point. So yeah, Skinks can no longer retreat instead of fighting.
Yeah.
Is the big change.
Yeah. So now it costs them a command point, but they can shoot.
Yeah. And you can only move on a 4-up though.
Yeah.
So you're always going to get to shoot, but the movement's on a 4 as it used to be all the time.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a drop in Skinks from Seraphon.
Especially for Grand Order or allies. I think Skinks they're not going to be there as much now.
No.
Old and grizzled, basically on a 3+, you receive a command point. That's better than a 4+.
It is, but this book has a lot of ways to generate command points.
Yeah. And then the artifact of power is Serpent God Dagger. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons, and at the end of any phase, if any wounds inflicted by that weapon in that phase or allocated to an enemy are not negated, and the enemy model has not been slain, roll a dice, and on a 5+, it's slain. It's a reality splitting axe. Yeah.
Which I like. I like all that kind of swords. It's always fun because you always want to roll that 5+.
Absolutely. Then we've got the two coalesced ones, which is I'm going to let you pronounce the one that's not the Thunder Lizard.
Kotal's Claw.
There we go.
Kotal.
Or Quattle.
Yeah, it could be Coatl. That sounds more Seraphon.
Yeah.
So they, Savagery Incarnate, they can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Coatl Claw Saurus units when they charge.
Bearing in mind, if you coalesce, you get an extra bite attack anyway.
Yep. So you've got like 2 normal attacks plus 2 bite attacks now then? Or is it just 1? Maybe it's just 1 and then 2 over a certain size. But yeah, so +1 to hit. Again, you're never going to complain about getting +1 to hit. Command ability. So Controlled Fury. So you can pick 1 friendly unit within 20-foot inch of a Saurus hero, and you count as having made a charge move for the purposes of the Savagery Incarnate ability.
That's good.
Yeah, I like that. So even if you're charged, if you've got a command point, you can still get those +1s to hit.
Absolutely.
And there's more ways to get +1s to hit in this book. That's why I think Saurus are going to make a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Again, command traits a 4-up command point, but this time it's whenever you issue a command on a 4-up, you get 1. So it's a better Aether Quartz Brooch.
That is actually quite good because it's not capped like it is in 40k.
Yep, so you can every time you get 1 back.
Yep.
On a 4-up. So you're going to get half of them back. And as I say, there's a lot of ways to generate ones in this book, so this could be a really good one. And then the artifact is pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. Unmarked hit roll for attack is a 6. You get 2 mortal wounds in addition.
Cool.
Yeah. And you've got the
Thunder Lizard.
The one everyone's waiting to hear about.
Add 2 to the wounds characteristics of Thunder Lizard monsters. So this is the equivalent of the is it the Boulder Herd for ogres?
Yeah.
All of the Stonehorns get an extra wound.
You've got to bear in mind you're adding 2 wounds and removing 1 damage from enemy attacks that are coming in.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's a great little buff to your monster.
Very, very survivable. And of course, if you take the, I know you couldn't do that because if you take a battalion, you could technically take a second artifact to give somebody an additional +1 save on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the command ability, you can use this command ability at the end of your shooting phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Bastiladon or an engine of the gods that is wholly within 18 of a Thunder Lizard hero. If that unit is a Bastiladon, it can shoot its solar engine, even if it has already done so. If it is an engine of the gods, you can make a cosmic engine roll for it, even if you've already done it. A unit cannot benefit from this command ability more than once per phase.
I think that's good.
That doesn't mean that you can't get 4 or 5 command points and then have 4 or 5 different Bastiladons shooting again.
Exactly. You just can't shoot each one more than once. But
Yep. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I've always liked the laser Bastiladon over the snake Bastiladon anyway.
It's just a Venusaur.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Venusaur, use Solar Beam. Yes. I've picked up Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Grant. I'm very happy to have played that yesterday, but which is actually in an hour's time.
Through the mysteries of the internet.
Yep. And the artifact in your shooting phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 12 and of the bearer and visible. Roll a dice. On a 1, it can't be used again for the rest of the battle. On a 2 to 3, nothing happens. On a 4 to 5, the enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. And on a 6, they suffer D6 mortal wounds.
So, again, chance to chip off more mortal wounds.
It's like the shiny what's it for the troll.
Okay.
You're allowed to make feel no pain rolls of a 5+, but as soon as you roll a 1, he eats it, and you can't use it for the rest of the game. Did you even know that was a thing?
No. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so if you roll a 1, you don't have to take the feel no pains, but you can. But then if you roll a 1, you eat it. And you can't use it.
That is superb.
Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, I think I would love to see like a couple of Bastiladons and stuff in a list like this. I think that would be really cool.
You're going to. People are going to do it. I mean, they're...
Oh, do you know what?
For my money, the big dinosaurs are the best models, and the Stegodons and the Bastiladons are my favourite models in the Seraphon range.
They're old models, right? But they're still so cool.
Yeah, they've held up really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there is a whole host of battalions. Did you look through the battalions?
Yeah, in particular, I really like for a Starborn army the Sunclaw Star Host.
Sunclaw Temple Host.
No, that's for the Coalesced.
Sunclaw Star Host. So it's 1 Saurus Old Blood or Sunblood and 3 Saurus Warriors. Improve the rend characteristic of Celestite weapons used by units in this battalion by 1. That's good because if you go on Saurus Warriors, bearing in mind you can get... Is this the one that can get +1 to hit and an extra bite attack?
You can't... No, the extra bite would be Coalesced.
Oh, right, okay. So, hang on, what? They've done them back to... Oh, no. Whatever. Right, yeah, I think that's okay.
But remember, they've already gained a rend. So you're rend 2 with your Seraphon, with your Saurus now.
Yes.
And either the Old Blood or the Sunblood. Well, one gives you +1 to hit, one gives you +1 to wound. So you're gonna take one in the battalion and one outside the battalion, so you've got both of them.
Wow, actually, yeah, that's pretty good. And I mean, 3 max squads of Saurus is only 960 points.
And that's 40 wounds per squad.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bodies, a lot of wounds, and a surprising amount of damage you can then churn out at Rend 2.
Absolutely.
Which is just something we've not seen. We've not seen massed Saurus in AOS for God knows how long. So yeah, that was the one that I liked from there. The other one that's worth mentioning is the old Thunderquake Star Host.
Yeah.
They've basically split the abilities between the Coalesced and the Starborn.
Yeah.
So like old battalions used to have a heap of abilities, now they generally only have one. They split it. So the Starborn one heals what's in the battalion, and then the Coalesced one is all the Swift and Savage rules.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty much the same. It just, gives them one rule or the other, depending if you're Coalesced or Starborn.
Yeah, I mean, for example, the Sunclaw Temple Host gives your bites rend, which is pretty nice because if you're Coalesced, you've got 2 bite attacks
and +1 to hit.
Yeah, so.
And then, of course, an additional +1 to hit or +1 to wound from the Old Blood or Sunblood.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you only want the Rend 1, you could have more Rend 1 attacks, or you can bump up to Rend 2 if you're playing Starborn. So I think that's a good shout either way.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Do you want to talk about the Slans and Lord Croak and what your thoughts are on these?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I'll let you take the helm here.
So I mean, bearing in mind, so we'll start with the Slan. This the basic Slan Star Master. So again, so when you're attempting to cast a spell, you can. I think I had this before. I'm pretty sure you can pick a skink wizard within 12 of this model, or a friendly oracle anywhere in the battlefield, and you can measure from them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always handy. You don't have to have your Slan where you need to be. If you've got someone else where you need to be, you can, cast a spell through them. But then your Foresight, at the start of your hero phase, roll 2 dice, and each 4-up you get 1 command point.
Nice.
So again, we're just lots of CP generation, and +1 for casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls. And you can attempt to unbind anywhere and dispel anywhere in the battlefield.
And you can get a free reroll as well.
Yep, and you can get another +1 through the Astrolith Bear that you're going to take. It's... So yeah, and then he's a 3-cast wizard, and he's only... How many points did we say he was? 200 and something?
260?
Yeah, for a 3-cast wizard.
That's really good.
Who can generate 2 command points a turn.
Who else could... Arkan can cast 3?
Yeah.
So I presume... Can Neferata cast 3?
I'm not sure of the rest. I don't know.
Alariel's 3 cast.
But she's also, considerably more expensive.
Oh, yeah, she's 600. Marathi's only 2.
Yeah. So there's not many 3-casters, and not for this points value either.
Nah.
Then their spell is Comus Call, so... On a 7, you pick up to D3 units on the battlefield, and each of those suffers D3 mortal wounds.
That's very good.
If you roll a 10 plus, you get to pick D6 units.
10 plus, so you only actually need to roll a 9.
Yeah.
Or an 8 if you've got the little guy with him.
Yeah.
That's really good. I've just
a 7 if you're on Arcane. It's...
Yeah.
And you can do D6.
Oh, look, I'm going to re-roll it as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
I looked at the command ability there. This is fantastic. You can pick a friendly unit within 18 that can fly and add 1 to save rolls made with missile weapons. There's not loads of missile weapons about, but that's still pretty good.
They're definitely starting to be a lot more KOs, starting to pick up traction. The city stuff's going about. There's always some shooting.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, that Bone Reaper catapult's always lurking somewhere to just start doing 5 damage to things. So being able to try and not die is always good.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Croak.
Yeah, the big man himself. So he's got proper wounds and save characteristics now.
Did he not before?
No, so I'm gonna have to load up the way they ran him before because so. He was a lot of points before. We said 420. But so this is how he worked before. So in the Battle Shock phase of each turn, roll a dice. And now the number of wounds that Lord Croak suffered during the turn. If the result is higher than his bravery, he's slain. So you'd roll 2 dice plus however many wounds he suffered. If you got a 10 or more, if you got over 10, he was dead.
Okay.
So that was it. So you either killed him outright or he didn't die.
So really, you only had to do sort of 3 or 4 wounds, and then you were averaging 7 on 2 dice.
Yeah, exactly.
Why 2 dice, by the way? Was that his rule?
Yeah. Oh no, 1 dice. Sorry.
All right, yeah. So realistically, you need to do 5 or 6 damage to him.
Yeah. And he had a 4-up save. So now he has 7 wounds, a 4-up save, and a 4-up shrug.
That's cool.
So I think it's a lot easier. There's no messing about with it. But the good thing is now you can heal him.
Yep. And, of course, look out, sir, as a rule.
Yep. But yeah. So obviously he's got a lot of the similar rules to the other Slan we just spoke about, the Arcane Vassal. His melee weapon's different though. So if he's in combat, he's got its attack characteristic equal to the number of enemy models within 3 inches of him.
Okay.
And his melee weapon's 3/3 minus 1/1. So if he gets surrounded, he can still do some work.
Yeah.
However, he rolls 3 dice for his command ability generation, his command point generation.
Oh.
And he's still got the +1 to cast, as always. And he's a 4 cast wizard.
Is there even another 4? Well, Nagash.
Yeah, but Nagash doesn't count.
Is there anybody else that can cast over 3?
I don't think so. I can't think of anybody that's at that level.
Do you know what?
Not for Croak's points.
I kind of wish I had a Lord Croak, right? Because I would love to use like Arkan, Nagash, and somebody else versus like Alariel, Marathi, and Croak.
That would be great.
And just do one of the endless spell battles with the roaming spells from.
That's right. Croak can just get rid of them.
Oh, shut up! You're spoiling the fun. He's good.
So he's got 2 spells on his scroll. So he's got the Comet's Call spell. But he's also got, which is the one the other slime had. He's also got Celestial Deliverance. Mm-hmm. Now this I like. So he can cast it 3 times.
Okay.
But each time it gets harder. So it's a 7, then an 8, then a 9.
See, I like that because the copy and smite from 40k, but Nagash should have that with Arcane Bolt. He should.
Yeah. It's not really going to matter for Nagash because he's got so many bonuses to cast, but agree, they should have done this. But each time you cast this spell, you pick up to 3 units within 10 inches, and on a 2+, that unit takes D3 mortal wounds.
Okay.
So for every cast, you're doing D3 mortal wounds to 3 units, and you can cast it 3 times.
So potentially 9d3.
Yeah. And within 10, but with a bearer, Astral Bearer, you're adding 6, so you're within 16. And if it's a Chaos Demon unit, it's just a flat 3 mortal wounds.
But then in addition to that, you've got all your bonuses to casting as well.
Exactly.
So realistically, getting a 9's not that hard.
No.
And then, got a free reroll.
Exactly. And you've done 3d3 mortal wounds to 3 units.
Wow. I think are we going to see him a lot, do you think?
I think so. I'm probably wildly incorrect, but I would take him. I think he's great for the points. Because he's not that much more, what do we say, 60 more than a regular Slan?
Yeah, he's 60 more than a normal Slan.
And he generates potentially an extra command point each turn, and he's got an extra spell cast.
And his actual spell is very good.
Yeah, and he's got a 4-up shrug.
Yeah.
Obviously, can't give him artifacts. That's the thing. So, like, he's not going to get the rerolls and stuff like that we were just speaking about, actually, because he's a unique character.
Yeah, but at the same time, he doesn't have to be a general to use his command ability.
No one does.
Which is what I find annoying about Marathi.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to be a general because you want the command traits and stuff.
But narratively, I don't like the fact that Nagash isn't the general. Marathi, like Nagash, Alariel, Marathi, Croak, they should always be the general. I do think they should make that a rule for these big characters.
Legion of Grief is. If you've got a Mortark in your list, or Linda has to be in, and she has to be the general.
Yeah, I think like Legion of Night, and that's the same. Legion of Blood, Legion of Sacrament, they all have to have their Mortark as the general.
Yeah.
I think that would be a nice thing to do, because I don't like it when you've got Nagash on the table and it's like a Necromancer is the general, so you can get the command tree. It's like, no, not really. Nagash is going to be in charge.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Move on off topic.
So, let's have a quick look through some of the other characters. We're not going to go through all the stats, guys. We're just going to have a look at some of the abilities and command abilities and things. It would take way too long. There's a lot of units in the Seraphon book. There really is.
There is just a huge amount. I mean, the one that's worth going over is the Skink Oracle, since it's massively different. The Troglodon.
Let's have a look. I've got all the swords. Oh, there we go. The Skink Oracle on Troglodon.
Yeah. Because before he was just a guy riding him, but now he's a wizard.
Ah. Okay.
Which is the big bonus.
Yeah, and he's got Comet's Call, which is the same spell, isn't it?
D3 units, and they take D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah. That's cool.
So Yeah, I think he's one worth looking at. Again, as we said, you could give him up to a 2+ save as well with the command trait and the artifacts and things like that.
And then, of course, you can give him +2 wounds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So going through him sort of quickly, he's got a Noxious Spittle for a missile attack, which obviously depends on the his range goes down on the wounds. 3s and 3s, no rend, 2 damage. Then a Rod, 2 attacks, 4 and 4, -1, D3. Then the 4 limbs. He's not that fighty.
He heals D3 wounds a turn on a 2+.
Yeah.
And he's got +1 to casting and binding.
Yeah.
And can attempt to dispel anywhere on the battlefield.
Yes.
Wow.
And subtract 1 from bravery from enemies, which for the few armies left that worry about bravery is always nice.
Yeah.
But if any wounds inflicted by the Noxious Spittle are allocated to an enemy model and not negated, you can reroll charges for the Troglodon if you want to get into combat.
Nice.
Don't know if you do, but potentially you do.
Nice. Which was the character that you said to take alongside the Slan?
The Astrolith Baiter.
Is that a Saurus?
He's a Saurus, yeah.
There we go. So add 1 to casting rolls for friendly Seraphon wizards while they're within 12 of any models with this ability. In addition, add 6 inches to the range of the spells for Seraphon wizards whilst they're within 12. Why would you not take him now?
Plus, he's going to give you D3 summoning points for having any of them on the table as well. So I just think there's no way you would leave home without without one of them.
No, definitely not. Saurus Warriors, though.
Yeah.
Did their stat lines change? They are still 1 wound.
They are. That was the thing I think everyone was expecting, myself included. They would go to 2 wounds.
Yeah, especially when the Half-Guard Berserkers and all the Fire Slayers went to 2 wounds.
Yeah, I think... But then I guess the way to look at it is as well is what you're paying, you're getting 40 bodies on the table, whereas if they added the wounds, you'd probably only be getting 20.
Yeah, that's true.
So you are getting more bodies on the table, which at the end of the day, this is an objective game. So I don't know. I think they are a lot more aggressive now, though, than they were, because they've got that rend on their clubs.
But what do they not have now?
Bravery 10.
Were they Bravery 10 before?
Yeah, all Seraphon were, because they were good demons.
Oh.
They were celestial demons, which I'm kind of sad.
But the Starborn ones count as being 10.
They do, yes, which is kind of that. Still like the old.
And the other ones ignore modifiers, which is...
Yeah, so you've still got good bravery, but you have to be aware now, if you are playing Coalesce, you are having to check your bravery isn't just 10.
Yeah. But what else have they not got?
I don't know. What do they not have?
They don't ignore -1 rend.
Yes, I did point that out and completely forgot about it. Yeah, so that's kind of gone from the whole army in general. Because Skinks used to have that as well.
Yeah.
They've still got their shields.
Yeah.
Like, they still have a rule for it, but the Saurus Warriors, they don't even register as having a shield anymore. Like, the models have them.
Did they used to have a 5-up save previously?
Well, that's why I'm just thinking.
Yeah, because they've got a 5. I'm sure they had a 5-up. And they've got a 4-up now.
That would make a lot of sense. Saurus Warriors. Yes, they have. Yeah, they've gained.
So they're getting +1 save, but lost the ability to ignore -1 rend. So even if you hit with -1, you're still on what you were before. It's just...
Exactly.
It's one less rule that you have to be aware of. It just makes the game easier to play. Yeah.
But you get an extra attack if you've got more than 15 models in the unit.
Nice.
Which is always good. And again, as we said, you've got the rend. If you take the other characters that are in the battalion, the Old Blood and the Sunblood.
Yep, you can quite easily, if you take that battalion as well, and you can get +2 to hit, +1 to wound, and then you've got the command ability, you can get a lot of the attacks.
I mean, you can get a Saurus Warrior to 2 attacks, 3s to hit, 2 to wounds, -2 rend.
And you can reroll 1s to hit for either all-out attack or the spell.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we'll see Sawdust Warriors back. I really do. I think it gives them a place. I think so. Yeah, I think Skinks losing the retreat means when they do get charged now, they will just die. They can't just dart away. So it puts them in a different position now as to where they once were. Because you'd charge them and then retreat out and steal the objective and things like that, which is no more. Which, to be fair, we maybe should have seen coming because Thunderers lost that ability as well. Because they used to be able to retreat out of combat.
Yeah.
And now they can shoot instead, so maybe we should have seen it coming.
Yeah, that's good. So I think Salamander hunting packs are underrated. 4 shooting attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, -2 D3 damage. If you roll a 6 to hit, you just do the D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Salamanders, Razor Dawns, they've all got a great play. They're not the easiest to... Oh, wait a minute.
What have you found?
No, I was misreading. I was reading the Salamander hunting pack rather than the Salamander scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Salamander hunting pack. Oh no, I was confused because it said 1 wound, but if you've got to read the description that says they have a wound of 3. I was like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Just panic there for a second.
So there's lots and lots of abilities that has changed across most of the units. Double check your stats, in particular like the saves on the Saurus Warriors there. Like you didn't even pick up on that.
No.
So honestly, double check your rules and your war scrolls, guys.
This is a huge change for them.
Yeah.
Massive. Comedian Skinks as well. They've changed, I'm sure.
I'll just go back to them. So the Dark Pipe, it used to do mortal wounds on a 6, didn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it still does it.
You've got so you can pop them on the table 9 inch away like you could before.
Mm-hmm.
But you can remove it, so you can keep doing it. But if they're in cover, they add 3 to save rules.
Yeah.
So they're on like a 3-up save in combat. I don't think they had that before.
I think I had something like that. I'm sure they did, although minus to hit or something. I'm not familiar with the old Seraphon rules.
You're right. It is, yeah. But it just said it a 3+ rather than a 6+.
Right.
So yeah, they just wrote it out. So yeah, I don't think they have changed actually.
But I mean, there's so many things that have changed in this. Like, it would take us a couple of hours to go through it all, guys. I
guess the one thing that I've seen people speaking about and was hoping for the new book is the Battletome.
Mm-hmm.
The snake one, the Ark of Sotek.
All right.
Yeah, it's now just a melee weapon. So 18 attacks, 4s to hit, 6s to wound. But any hit rolls of a 6 inflict 1 mortal wound.
That's okay.
But do you want it over the shooty laser?
No.
Which is 9. Which now instead of having your 2d6 attacks, I think it had before, it's now got 9 and it degrades.
Yeah, that's really good.
It also has a 1+ save now, the Battletome.
Yeah, but the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Manticore wounds on a 1+ with his claws.
But it means if you're hit with Rend 1, you're still on a 2-up save.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the change was that they used to be unrendable, but they gained 2 wounds.
Yeah.
And now they start on a 1-up save, so I think it's probably better.
Yes.
And they would have 12 wounds again in Thunder Lizards. So.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
So we're not going to go through all the rest of the units, guys, because like I said, that would take too long. I think we've covered the spells, we've covered the allegiance abilities, the points, and we've covered all the command traits and relics and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm interested to see where these are going to fit in competitive scene. You think that they'll kind of be sort of in the middle with Kharadron Overlords?
I think so. I think we're going to see people running Thunder Lizards with all the big dinosaurs because that's just a beautiful thing to see. Someone's going to do that.
And I want to say it looks better than Stonehorns, but I'm slightly biased.
Stonehorns just have such raw damage. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You just...
Oh, what's that? -1 damage? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but again, I mean, you know, that will make a difference. It would be a very different playstyle. You're not going to be as aggressive with an all
No.
as you are with the. You'll have more models, but you don't have the counts as 10.
No. And
Which is the
that's
big thing.
the thing that
Yeah,
makes
that's the big thing.
Ogres powerful.
Yeah. But I'm glad it's not going to every monster army either. It's nice that they've kept it, but it does mean that going all monster with another army is a bit less viable.
Absolutely. But you can quite easily take.
And I think we'll see Saurus heavy builds.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think I dropped out there for a second.
Definitely. So that is it, folks. That is the Seraphon Battletome, available to pre-order right now. Once again, thank you to Grant for going through this with me. I really appreciate it, and his insights are wonderful. His insights are very wonderful. Indeed. So make sure you go check out the rest of the channel, guys. If you're able to support us on Patreon, please do so, but make sure you also follow us on Twitch. Until next time, though, me and Grant will see you in the podcast.
Yes.